Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're another TV episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's in an anime with me tonight?
This is the king of useless knowledge, Joe Butler, and I'm mining for kyber crystals.
Yeah.
And this is the anime enthusiast, Jody, and I'm not mining for kyber crystals because they're sharp.
And if you mine them, they should leave you in the hole.
Yep.
So we are here to talk about, which has taken me over a year to get to, Star Wars Visions Volume 2, which came out in May 4th, 2023. And we did Visions Volume 1 a bit ago, and I was like, I'm going to get to this one too. And then lo and behold, the end of 2024, and we still haven't done it. So here we are.
Well, I didn't hear anything about this. Like, I didn't hear anything good, but I didn't hear anything bad either. So I was like, I guess it's okay. So I had a really good time with, I think whenever we watched 1, 2, they announced 2 was coming out, and it came out like a little bit later on, but like, I didn't hear anything about it. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll just wait till I need to watch it.
Until Mike makes you.
Yeah. Apparently, there was a couple won awards, but I never heard of them at all until watching them for now.
I heard one thing about this show ever, and that was Kendall, friend of the show, had made a comment about when it came out last year that it was like one of the best Star Wars things he's ever saw.
Wow.
So, and that was the last thing I heard about it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. I mostly would have forgotten it existed, except for I had saved the wallpaper of it to my phone that we would get to it someday. And yeah, you're right though. I mean, there's barely any reviews on YouTube either about this. Like, it's not something that people talk about at all.
Spoilers, I had a really good time with it.
I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
I did not.
I was up and down. I like some of them. Some of them. We'll discuss my reasonings.
No, it's fine. I'm glad that people do, because this would be boring if it was just me. So I just wasn't into them. But I'm not a big anime person, and these are 9 different episodes that are each developed by a different studio that are Star Wars stories that are not canon, that they're just, they get to do their own thing, and they're done by many different studios from all over the world.
I mentioned it in the last episode. I'm going to mention it now. I am completely fine with the idea of having either a TV show or a movie in the Star Wars, because at the end of the day, it's like us. We have a big fucking universe, so you can say like none of them are connected. So a lot of the stuff, like, because I don't want to go too back about comparing it, like a lot of stuff from like the first collection is really good, and they do stuff that, you know, you can say like, well, this happens in another side of the galaxy, so it's fine. Like kyber crystals changing color, revealing you're a Sith, or, you know, like just having a whole bunch of other goofy stuff happen too is perfectly fine. And I know you can argue where it's like, oh, well, you know, there's stormtroopers, and stormtroopers are only in like, you know, our Star Wars, but it's like, oh, who gives a shit? It's just a Star Wars story. At the end of the day, I believe if it has a good time, it's a good story, lore and shit shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I have no problem with these being just what if type stories or something else. That doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it's kind of nice, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say this season could more match into the canon universe than the first season. That doesn't have to, but like, there's a few things in here. There's not as much I find in this season that just wouldn't work in what we know about Star Wars, except for in a couple of episodes.
I think that's completely fair. I
still think out of the first season and this season, nothing will ever beat that first episode for the first Visions. Like that.
Yeah. So the first episode in here is called Sith, and the production's El Guri Studios, which is from Spain. This wasn't able to get interest. Like, this one has an art style that I like. I don't know how to describe it, but I just couldn't even, like, this one didn't even grab me either. And this is their, you know, the flagship one of the season, because I do feel like they put the best one, you know, foot forward, and it just wasn't doing it for me.
I can explain to you. It's a watercolor kind of art style. It's a newer kind of thing they're doing. The best thing I can compare it to, well, and honestly, it looks like the Arcane TV show that's out right now.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
That's actually really good. Surprisingly,
I did not like the art style in this episode. It turned me right off. I think there's a okay story in there, but that art style just really, I
had a hard time with it too. But that makes sense that it's a newer thing. Because, like, when I think of this, I was thinking of me more anime, and none of these are really only one of these is anime. Only one of these from Japan.
Yep.
They're all from different countries, which is cool. I mean, it's a good thing. I don't like the fact that it bothered me, that it wasn't what I wanted.
I actually, there was only a couple that the animation actually bothered me. This is one, and I'm not a big fan of stop motion, so there's several of those.
Oh, yeah, there are.
The whole thing that they did with the light and dark and her play, I really liked her deciding to embrace that. But the double blade lightsaber, one red, one yellow, I liked that.
These are also they were forgettable for me. That's the other issue. Like I watched all these a couple days ago. Hell, I watched them Friday. It's Saturday night. I don't remember.
Yeah, I watched them Friday too, except for the last one I watched today. But yeah, that's the only Ridley part that grabbed me in the first one. And I like the little droid. I like that he was like a mini spider droid because he shot the robot's head off. That was funny.
Yeah, he was cool.
I think that was supposed to be your hint that she used to be a Sith, because that was totally just a bigger version of those roly droids they have in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. They reminded me of the spider droids from Clone, the Republic Commando, the dwarf spider droids, except this one's really tiny.
I mean, clone. I mean, just because they for the Droid Republic doesn't mean they're, or not the Droid, but the Droid Army doesn't really mean Sith. But I get where you're coming from.
I think I know what the issue with this season is too. Not all, it's fine. A lot of these are stories, and a lot of them don't have a lot of action. I want to say out of the 9 episodes, like 3 of them probably have action scenes, maybe. And
4. They're depressing.
A lot of them are depressing.
Depressing. Like there's so many negatives.
Well, I watched this after November 5th, for sure. Maybe I watched it the 6th. Maybe I didn't watch all these Friday. But I watched these definitely November 6th and onward. It is now November 9th. So I wasn't really in the mood for sad, depressing, tyrannical governments for some reason. I don't know why. No reason at all. But like I noticed that I just wasn't in the mood for that. And that didn't fit well with what this is. Because, the Empire. And a lot of these stories just didn't have happy ending. And I'm like, I don't need this right now. So that might have also played a part in why I wasn't as into it. But no, the watercolor was just kind of hard for me. It's very cool and it's very different, but it wasn't, I think, what I expected.
It was hard for me to picture that as a real world. It almost looked like it was half drawn at times. And I get what they were going for there because she was creating it, but it just didn't, it's not my kind of thing for animation.
I'm also, and I know I talk about it a lot, and I was thinking about it earlier. I was taking the dog out. I'm also kind of always low key. I say it a lot on the show, and I'm sorry, Mike. I'm always a slut for when it's revealed that, like, oh, the good guys or the character you're kind of rooting for is kind of evil. And I'm always, as much as I hate to admit it, I'm always a gray Jedi kind of guy because I think both sides are increasingly fucking stupid.
Fair.
I liked the amount of gray in this. I did like that part. Like I said, I think it was a decent story. Just the animation turned me off, so I was never going to be a fan of this episode.
No, I think that's completely fair. I mean, I did like the stuff with the Sith. I thought that was good. I mean, there's so much Sith in this, too, which was kind of... I felt a little... Again, it wasn't the right time for me to watch something about the Sith, I realized, and the Empire. But, I don't know. I like the designs of the Sith that you see in here. Like, I thought that was cool, and that her droid does help her fight and murder one of the guys. Like, I thought that was all pretty cool stuff. That was shoot somebody's head off, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. I mean, it is an interesting story of someone who's a Sith who then wants to revoke her faith and not be with them anymore. And one of the droids really did look like something out of the last trilogy we got. Just kind of had that same feeling to it.
Oh, they're like the Red Knight or whatever they're called.
Or maybe it's the Ahsoka show I'm thinking of, but it just reminded me of something from later Star Wars.
Yeah, it did.
And
I see that.
Her ship that she's using, that is 100% from a ship from the Clone Wars.
The speeder she was using, I think, was from Clone Wars 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was the speeder was cool because you don't see that round speeder used very often.
No, and usually just with droids, I think.
I think so. I think there was one in the pod used by a little in a Phantom Menace. I think there was one, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen that now.
I like that movie a lot more than most people.
I like that movie.
But that's just kind of how I felt about it. I mean, they do hold back the lightsabers too. I don't know. It was just I think I wanted the black and white again. Would have been with this. The red would have been a more exciting, like what they did in Visions 1. This wasn't that.
Yeah, that, like I said, that Ronin. God, that Ronin reveal's so fucking good. Like nothing ever beats the her going, I've beaten too many Jedi in my life for you to beat me, and him going, oh, I'm no Jedi. And just the 4 different angles of the camera turning while he pulls it out of the sheath is like just the most badass thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So as much as I hate to admit it, you can't beat that first episode ever.
No, and I think that's also part of the issue that, after watching that, we're so, we're expecting kind of that level. And this wasn't the same thing. So,
yeah.
I mean, I do like the idea of a Sith on the run from the Sith to, who wants to not be part of the Order anymore. And I think that's a cool idea for a story.
One thing that I guess confused me, plot hole, I guess, is the fact that he's saying that she has to beat him to become the master with rule of 2. And then when she kills him, she's like, more will come after me. I'm like, well, if you just killed him and he's the only other one, who's coming after you?
Good point.
I just don't think they thought that through.
Well, I mean, they're doing their own thing, so I'm going to say no.
They're also, as much as I've talked about it before, I don't really get heavily into Star Wars lore, but as much as I've said it, or just a little bit earlier, both sides are stupid, because the idea is always, well, there's only ever 2 Siths, the master and his trainee, but it's like, doesn't the trainee also have his own trainee? And y'all know
they always have like 2 or 3.
Yeah, and y'all know they do that. So there's that, in the Sith lore that y'all know that y'all all do that. So you can't keep saying that when you know it's not true.
I mean,
actually, even if you go back to the legends, because I did get into the legends back in the day, like the idea was there was always supposed to be 2, but everybody kept breaking it. And that's why the Sith always lose, because they kept breaking their own rules.
That's the joke, though. To be fair, they should also mention that's the joke as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they can't follow what they're supposed to be doing.
Fuck me, Mike. Is Legends next? I haven't actually seen that either.
Legends? What are you talking about?
Is that what you're talking about?
Legends are the comic series.
Yeah.
Legends is anything that isn't canon anymore, which would be the books and the comics.
Which the old books and comics, I read a bunch of them.
What's the prequel show that happened recently? The one where it shows like Ahsoka as a baby and it shows Count Dooku when he was a Jedi.
Oh, that's Tales of the Jedi. And there's Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, which are going to happen coming up here, because that's another thing I said we were going to do like 3 years, whenever the hell it came out. Which
either of those.
I almost did nothing Star Wars in 2024. And I did so much in 2022 and 23, and I was like, I did 2 episodes this year that I released, and I'm like, I should really do some more Star Wars. So, yes, we will be doing it eventually. I do like the Sith design, though, with the helmet and the red mark on his face. I thought it was cool. I think that's really all there is to say about this episode.
Do you want to do like the weird thing where we can shelf stack or box each episode, or?
Nah, we'll do the season as a whole, because that's how it was presented to us.
Okay.
I'll be easier than you don't want to hear me be negative for 9 episodes. So. And then the second episode is Screechers Reach Production Company Cartoon Saloon. Country is Ireland.
It looks like the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
Yeah, it kind of. I didn't like this one either.
This is my favorite of this season.
Okay. I mean, I want you guys to have different opinions than me. I was just not in a good place mentally for this. Because this one's all about slavery and like kids working in a factory.
And it is so negative. Like that ghost. He finally stands up to the ghost, and then it was just an old Sith that he's now taking the place of. Yeah.
Again, so much Sith, and everything is so depressing. Like you are right. The animation is very Tarkovsky, and I don't really care for that style anymore. Like, I did like Tarkovsky Clone Wars, but I'm not a big fan of that style. I mean, the whole idea is that she doesn't want to work anymore because, I mean, she probably realized, we're a bunch of kid slaves, like, working for the Empire. So she tries to leave the place that they're at to go to some temple or something that they've never been to before, where there's a ghost.
And the fact that she was manipulated to get there, I just think the reason I think this one hit well for me is just it gave me the idea that, somebody under that sort of oppression are so susceptible to being influenced to do anything. And it just sort of rung true.
I mean, it is true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, especially when it comes to what the Sith can do. Like, it fits that a Sith is manipulating somebody who's force sensitive to become their apprentice.
Yeah. You can see how somebody could become an apprentice with all the best of intentions. Because at the end, I don't remember the name of the character, but the main character there.
That's fine.
Yeah,
We're talking about
name. But that they came that close to just wanting freedom.
I also love which we'll go back and it's this one and another one that you guys are pretty much probably gonna figure out. I mean, have either of y'all seen like Nope?
What?
You guys seen the movie Nope?
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's a Jordan Peele movie. It's not a horror movie, but it's very much a alien movie. Spoilers for the big twist for the movie, but I mean, it's been
I
out
know
for a
of it
while,
now.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the big that's supposed to be an idea of what, and apparently that's what the idea took from it. The big ship that looks like the ship that the Sith shows up on looks like a big alien kind of thing, and it's basically the idea where it looks like a biblically accurate angel, which I think is funny. So I love the idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it showing up and these kids just being like, what the fuck is that? But I also am a huge fan of her being like, the necklace told me not to be afraid. And then it talks back to her and you're like, oh no, that's where this is going.
See, I didn't expect to be Sith again. I mean, truly, I didn't. I think that's another reason I was kind of depressed with this too, is because she's with her friends. You have some good moments. Like you said, they figure out what the ghost is. They beat back this old Sith Lord dies because she faces her fears. I think, doesn't she? I can't remember exactly. I just remember you pull out the red lightsaber.
And she reaches up to the light and pulls down the rocks, and the rocks crush the old Sith.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like she's reaching out to the light, but she's actually falling. But you don't realize it till after.
No, I mean, and that's what makes it sad is, she leaves her friends who are, my guess is they can't really go back to where they were. Because they're going to be like, where were you the last couple days, guys? Like, you're not allowed to miss shifts. This doesn't work this way.
And she just leaves them there.
The only thing that I take away from a lot of these two, which you can take away from the first season as well. It's really fucked up with shows like even out of lore, they're fine with it. I never see the Sith. I never see a person with a red lightsaber inherently, as well as a Sith, inherently a bad person. Because the Jedi Order itself is, and my husband mentions it a lot, is very Christian, which is like no anger, no sex, no revenge, no violence, even though you're given a weapon. And like if you break any of those rules, you're out. So I take it to where you could be. That's why I always like to refer. I wish they would make Grey Jedi exclusively canon, because you can have people who are like, yeah, I'm a Sith. Oh, but you're evil. No, I just think the Sith Order sucks. And I just have a red lightsaber. That's the only.
You mean the Jedi Order sucks?
The Jedi Order sucks, and the Sith are assholes. So that's the only reason why I have a red lightsaber.
I want to say in the canon Darth Vader comics, there are, maybe they're not exactly gray Jedi, but there's Jedi who were like more warriors and not really part of the Jedi councils, or not really much to do with the Jedi as much.
And there were some other groups that used the Force. There used to be anyway, that just weren't Jedi or Sith. Not just like the Witches of Dathomir. There were some more that tried to be balanced with it.
Yeah, there's
a little bit
of
in some of these other episodes. You see that. I do think, and I think it's going to come up more in other episodes, the strictness of the Jedi is shown too much to be, that's the way it has to be. Because I think there should be a more balance to that. But that's just something I just inherently dislike.
More successful and not have been wiped out by a whiny guy who wanted to.
Well, that's the thing. If they were allowed to have attachments, just learn to control their emotions with the attachments, it would have completely changed the whole thing. But then they end up still, even in the new lore, having to go back to no attachments because that's what it has to be. Which I don't think that's stupid in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the idea that you just worship your religion, so therefore you need no one else. But we're humans, and humans are social creatures, and humans need partners. Humans need relationships. It's just, even animals do too sometimes. Like, it's living creatures, and it's just stupid.
Well, I studied the Bible a lot. And even if you go into the Bible, in the original, in Genesis, it talks about God created woman so that you would have a companion. It would be somebody for him to be with. So even that idea of companionship should be to religion, but then religion's twisted that a lot of times, so that leading to asceticism, which has caused all kinds of problems, even in our world.
Oh, God, yes. I'm not a very religious person for multiple reasons, but mainly because I've seen what people do with religion. So,
yeah.
But it's another sad episode because she abandoned her friends and she goes with the Sith. And the last thing you see is her looking out the window at her friends and leaving them behind. Because they're like, well, she's like, can't they come? And the Sith's like, no, just you passed the test. So they get left on the backwards planet to work in the factories.
I do think the accents, though, also helped me like this episode, just because there's so many Irish accents, which is so close to home.
Okay. That is cool.
Like that.
I did not catch that, but then again, it's been a couple days, and I was in a mood. Okay. That brings us to the third episode, which is In the Stars, developed by Punk Robot Studios, and they're from Chile.
I very much like the designs of both characters in this episode. The obviously the little small child having very much, very fat child feel, like things like that, and the older sister having a very much like tribal look, but also having like pieces of like the stormtrooper armor attached as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the mask
I thought
and the horns.
cool. This animation is different. It looked like stop motion, but I know it's not.
It is listed as stop motion, but
it
it's
is?
definitely it's. I think they mixed stop motion with some more CGI and even some traditional graphics on top of it. I'm not a big fan of stop motion, but this was probably the best done of the 3 stop motion episodes, in my opinion.
Okay, it was hard to picture what exactly it was that they were doing with this animation style. Like, I was just very confused. And now that I know, like, which countries were involved for which episode, I feel like it makes more sense. Like, each country kind of put their own twist on the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, Chile is in South America, and to me, I mean, this kind of feels like a little bit Aztec-y type stuff. Just the way the characters look. It remind me of that.
Oh yeah, see that?
And the fact that their world
It was
gets wiped out
definitely
by outsiders, because that also fits that type of...
well, it fit very much with the traditional indigenous peoples of North and South America. How the invaders came in and took everything. Right? That was very strong.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think that's also kind of the point of Star Wars as well. I think the whole point, I think Star Wars itself in main lore is also like, yeah, the stormtroopers, whenever, after, the Order 66, the idea is that they're also going around fucking with other people too as well. So
yeah, well, they become the invaders that then take everything they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, this one was also depressing.
Yeah.
They're the last two sisters are the last of their entire race. So even though they sort of won, they're still doomed.
Everybody's dead.
Yep.
So, it's kind of sad. Like, in this, they showed how they ran out of water because they were using the Empire came in and polluted their rivers and used the water to cool down their factories and then polluted their entire world. Like, it shows that all the people went and marched to their death to fight the Empire and lost. Like, and she's like, Mom's up there. She's a star. And I'm just like, this is depressing.
Depressing as fuck.
And even the sprout that's supposed to be like they're winning in the end. If you really think ecologically, releasing all that fresh water down into the polluted ocean is now just ruined the last of the water there was.
Yeah, it didn't do any better. Like, your planet is unfortunately ruined by these people. I mean, it might not be the entire planet, but knowing the Empire, it's the entire planet. Like, you're just seeing a symptom, because when they invade, they didn't just invade a country or a place. They took out an entire planet, usually. That's what they did.
I don't think it matters if it was it's funny enough too. I don't think it matters if it was fresh or salt water. I think the idea is that they were just A, hoarding water, but B, not only hoarding water, but dumping shit into their water as well. So I don't think it matters. Like, I think their water they swam in was still water they could consume. I guess,
yeah. I don't know. It just seemed to me like they were trying to inject hope, but I don't know. It fell a little flat to me that I still came out depressed at the end of that episode.
Same. And that's what got me. Like, that's what I felt like throughout this entire season. I just kept feeling sad. I'm like, why am I feeling sad for every Star Wars episode? Like, I shouldn't be. These are one-offs. These are all one-shots, essentially. Like, they should just be a few happy endings at least. Like, they're about to kill the little sister, and I know at the end of this, and the big sister does save her, but even though they win and they beat back this little base of the Empire, like, their planet's still gone. They have no water. So,
I'll say one thing that was sort of interesting is that when they were showing the animation there at the beginning, when the mother was trying to get them to use the Force like she could, the little girl was trying and could just barely do it. But if you notice, the older sister never tried until the very end. Even when the little sister was trying to in the animation, she just swam down and got it with her hands. She didn't actually try to use the Force till the very end, and then turns out she has all this Force power.
I mean, I've always liked the idea that many people have the power of the Force. It just some people are trained, some people are not.
Yeah, so I like that part.
And she had a reason to use it, so she used it. And there's some cool parts. You get to see an AT-AT. Like, I always like, or no, ATST.
ATST.
I should know my Star Wars. I always liked them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's supposed to be like a happy ending. Like, they're standing on grass. There's clean water. They see the stars again, but it still felt depressing because you are the last two of your kind. Like, I don't know. It's just, it was still sad, even though it tried to go out on a happy note.
Yeah.
It didn't feel happy.
Maybe they lay eggs. Who knows?
Maybe they have.
I mean,
they're asexual.
Yeah, maybe they're asexual.
Repopulate the planet.
I don't know. I don't know why everything felt so sad when Visions 1 didn't have that effect on me, from what I remember from 2 years ago, or whatever the hell we did it.
a while ago.
I don't either. I mean, hey, good news. You can go listen to it and you can tell me. So that brings us to the 4th episode, which is I Am Your Mother from Aardman Animations and United. This was developed in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Probably the weakest of all the episodes.
But it's
This
also
is
the
very-
happiest.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very children-centric. Like, this is a great one for kids. I'd say that I like it.
So with
Yeah, I found it
With-
boring, but it's cute.
with kids shows and with like even like other people that I know, I'm not ever a really big fan of the trope of, oh, my parents are so annoying, but they love me so much, but them loving me so much is so annoying. I say that as a dude who didn't grow up with parents. So it's really, I always hate when people are like, oh, my parents are so annoying. And it's just like me really wanting to grab them by the throat and being like, at least you fucking have parents. So
It's fair because
Yeah.
you understand. I mean, I get that way with people who get upset with their kids and like don't spend time with their kids. I'm like, you don't know how lucky you are to have your kid be able to be with you, and like don't take that for granted. Like I'm the same way, so I get it. It's not realizing what you don't have.
yeah. But I do appreciate how cute this episode is. I say weakest because it is a kid's thing.
Is
I
this
love
like Wallace and Gromit?
The same
it's totally
studio.
play.
Oh, okay. Because Carrie,
Pretty
who
sure it's the
unfortunately
same studio.
couldn't be on this episode, and made a comment. Like, I did not like that Wallace and Gromit episode. I was like, what is he talking? Like, okay.
Yeah. Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, Shaun the Sheep was all this studio.
I don't like any of those.
Wow,
No,
really?
me either.
Okay. Is this stop motion?
It's not
Yes.
motion.
Okay,
This is
so it's all-
traditional stop motion.
Okay, this is all like clay, probably then.
In fact, fun fact, I think the last Wallace and Gromit movie is the last Wallace and Gromit movie like forever. That the clay deposit
Yeah.
that they get their clay from is gone dry, and they're like, we don't have any more clay anymore.
This one actually, there's a background character. I was reading this earlier. One of the background characters is from the Wallace and Gromit movie.
Oh, I mean, there's Wedge Antilles from Star Wars. I
Yeah,
thought that
Wedge.
was kind of cool. Like,
That was funny. I did like that.
I like that they try to do something to connect it with, the regular Star Wars.
I love
Even-
I love the mom.
Mom was cute. I laughed that the evil girl and mom were basically Darth Vader. They even had Vader with their last
Yeah.
name. It was stupid. It was Kit Tully. Or they weren't there. It wasn't Vader. It was Dorita Van Reepel. Van for Vader. And their hair was like the helmet. It was sort of funny. It was cute for kids, like I said.
I also love the dog droid. The dog droid was like the best part of this whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog droid was cute. It's a dog version of R2D2. I did not have a problem with that.
They should have
It-
more pets that are droids.
Yeah, I'm also fine with. I say this is the weakest one, but I say that just because it's not super story heavy centric. There's no tight like necessary like we have to do this kind of thing. So, but I will admit, I agree with Mike. It's very much sure is nice to stop seeing people lose all of their friends and family and just see a cute little episode where it's
Yeah.
like a daughter and mom trying to win a race.
It was nice. Like, she's embarrassed by her mother. She has a crappy vehicle because they're poor. Like, I liked it. It was uplifting, Like, it wasn't sad, depressing. Her life wasn't terrible. She's just embarrassed by her mother. Like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And you have Wookiees. That was adorable, too. Like, it was cute. I didn't like the art style, but it was cute.
Baby Wookiee threatening the other one by ripping her doll's arms off.
I
That was funny.
like Wookiees.
Oh,
Don't let the Wookiee lose.
the opening of the opening of of them watching the holograms and you seeing a Jawa rip it out and go Wootini is also really funny.
Yeah. They got some comedic timing.
Oh, you even see one of the Gamorrean pigs in a rebel pilot outfit in the background.
Really?
You never? Yeah, I have playing in the background. We're talking. I've never seen that before. That's a first. All right.
Didn't know any Gamorreans joined the
I
rebellion.
think they did.
Interesting.
This is not canon. So hey.
It could be. You could be training kids to be rebel pilots on Tatooine by publicly announcing things in front of the rebel. Yeah, maybe this isn't canon.
No, I mean this could be after the Empire too, but then the Empire never really leaves, and the Empire comes. That's another thing. But the Empire doesn't leave when the First Order comes. So I don't know. It was cute.
Yeah.
And don't they win in the end too? Even though she's all embarrassed and doesn't tell her mother because they get pushed down a tunnel or something.
Yeah, they do win.
Okay.
They're the only ship to survive.
Yeah.
But it wasn't depressing in this one.
No, because everybody survived. It's just the ships didn't.
That's fine.
It's fine.
Even the ones that were blown up by the little Death Star on the.
Okay, that
Death Star
was
later.
adorable. That the cannon was a Death Star.
Yeah.
I like
That was cute. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted by my cat. Okay, that's a fake mouse, not a real one. All right. She was doing this crying thing she does, and I saw her batting around. So I'm like, did you catch that mouse that I saw earlier? Nope, it's a fake one. Okay. Because the real one would have to go outside. But no, the Death Star thing was adorable. And then that brings us to episode 5. This might have been my favorite because I like the animation style. This is Journey to the Dark Head.
Yeah.
A Studio Mir Company Ltd. Oh, what a great name. South Korea is the country, which it fits. This had the most anime feel to it because it looks like Japanese animation, and it looks like the anime, and it looks like the Japanese animation that I like personally, which is Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, that type of style.
Did you like Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah, that's not anime, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
No, but the one who, one of the people who worked on it is the one that founded the studio.
Oh, cool.
Okay, no, I really do like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra. Those are both very good shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one was enjoyable. I liked it.
I wonder if people complained that the last season was made by too many Japanese companies, and that's why this one has a bunch of different. Because I think there's like, I'm 100% sure, but Mike, you're reading them off one by one, but I don't think any of these are made by like a Japanese company. Maybe the last one. Yeah.
No, not the last one, but second to last one is.
It's really a Japanese-U.S. joint effort on that one.
Interesting.
But you probably are right, because I think maybe a lot of them were Japanese. I don't remember last time, so that could have been something where, or they just wanted to, like, I like this idea that you want to get other countries to have their own input on Star Wars and do their own thing. I have no problem with that. I think it's cool. I mean, this wasn't for me, but I'm still glad it exists.
Yeah, I'm hoping with what you said, because I didn't think about it earlier because I was just kind of watching them all one by one, kind of had my brain turned off. I still liked all of them though, but I'm hoping they at least learn a lesson from this one, and maybe this one was too depressing, and hopefully they learn like maybe we should make the next one have kind of a theme of not making them all depressing.
I also think that had things been different and it wasn't when I watched it, I wouldn't have been as upset by it.
Yeah.
So, but I was a little upset after remember November the 5th. Or remember the 5th of November. I was a little upset for some reason. So I don't
know. I'm actually feeling better now. I was quite depressed for a couple months there, and this didn't help.
No, it did not. So I mean, but this animation, I just like it because it feels more like anime. I mean, it's still different. It still has that. You see, also like for you, Joe, you watch a lot of different animes, and you see a lot of different animations. Where me, I'm unfortunately too close-minded on that. I don't experience really any of it, so I'm more like, what am I looking at? This isn't what I know, so it's a different, it's not a good thing. It's good that your brain is open to that.
Yeah. I watch a lot of anime, but it's all pretty much Japanese anime. And so these styles are my favorite style.
I try to watch a lot of different animations. I am 90% anime, but like, and also there's a lot of things I consider anime, and I apologize. You're allowed to finger waggle at me. For instance, I consider, as much as I hate to admit it, I consider Avatar and Korra both anime. There's a couple of other
anime
things.
Inspired, so
yeah,
it's the way I tend to look at it too.
There's a couple other things that I'm like consider like anime, and like, but the thing is I'm also one of people where it's like, well, it's not anime. It's like, well, I'm not gonna argue with you either. I just say it is anime because a lot of times people are like, would you request an anime? It's like, well, do you want anime or do you want a good animated show? Because that draws a line somewheres too. And also,
technically, if you go to Japan, they call all animation anime. So
yeah.
Wasn't that just their word for it then, I guess? So,
it is, yeah.
I mean, that's different than us when we do it. So
yeah.
There's a disgusting time in the late 90s, through the 90s and early 2000s where we called it Japanimation and Japanime, which, thank you for that, Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, that in that game?
Yeah, Otacon specifically. Otacon's introduction is I am called Otacon, short for Otaku Convention. I watch it. He literally says, "You're a warrior. You fought that guy that's like a ninja, just like one of my Japanimations or Japanese animes."
Oh God.
Yeah.
I've played that game multiple times. I do not remember this, but maybe that's by choice. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I like the stuff with you get to see. I mean, you also don't get a lot of Jedi in this either, and you get Jedi here, which I thought was cool too.
Yeah, and the whole idea that this is one of the ones I was talking about that had like the other group, because this group that did the prophecies was trying to stay out of Jedi and Sith affairs. This one girl's like, no, we got to get involved in this case. But I sort of liked seeing that there is other groups there.
That weapon is so fucking cool that Sith guy has, like a freaking chain.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And that's kind of what this is missing too. I loved all the different ideas they had for lightsabers, like back in the first Visions. Like,
Yeah.
Every episode had like either really cool or different ideas for lightsabers. And I want to say I made a comment where it's like, it's funny too, because they talk about it in the new games, the Fallen Order and the Survivor game, where it's like Jedi don't normally craft and change your lightsabers like that. And it's like, well, it's a game, so who gives a shit? And kind of the same thing was like, let's let people have fun. But then there's also comments where it's like, you imagine the youngling 9000 Slayer that Anakin would have fucking made in episode 3? Like,
I'm just thinking now, there's only 3 of these that have any sort of lightsaber duel. The first one, this one, and then there's one other where we see the Inquisitor.
Yeah, and I think that was also it was just different. Like, this one felt like what I'm used to for anime, and I liked it. Like, I found this one interesting. You have them fighting the Sith. You have them going on a quest, and her being a pilot, and they're both young. Like, I don't know. It had a lot of stuff that fit Star Wars-y to me.
This one matched very much with in the first season, if you remember the one that had the twins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly
this one reminded me of that. Not in animation so much, but just similar like sort of theme to it. I liked it.
Same. This was definitely my favorite of the set.
I love the idea of Sith also being complete douche nozzles. Yeah, you can leave me a scar, but that dude like burned that kid in the fucking mouth. Like, what an asshole.
He also killed everybody around the kid. It's like, yeah, I'm coming back for you. You're going to be my apprentice. Bye.
So is the idea of that, because her whole mission is supposed to be like, oh, I want to go blow up the dark head version of the 2 statues, the 2 Naruto statues, which, yeah, I hope either of y'all get that fucking right.
I don't, but
okay,
I do.
I know what Naruto is. Does that count?
Yes. I'll look at it for a second, but what is it? She does the idea of where it's like I didn't notice it, or you don't notice it until it shows it, but they're kind of like connected by a halo. And I guess the idea is supposed to be that, like, no matter what happens, the Jedi, the good and bad are intertwined no matter what. I think that was supposed to kind of be all the lesson that they learned too. And I guess that's what he realizes whenever he's fighting the guy as well.
Well, also in the building, you see blue and red all the time too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, they really pushed that there.
You see.
There's also the thing where she was trying to like change the prophecy by destroying that head, and she actually ends up making the prophecy come true, but it just didn't happen the way she thought it was going to, because she saw them dueling.
After the 3-hour conversation I had last night, I don't want to talk about prophecies and changing the future. Trust me.
We didn't go for 3 hours.
We almost did though, but that's the joke.
That's why you said 3 hours in the chat. That's how you say that.
We had a recording last night.
It
was a long one too. So
it was a long one. Can't wait for Kingdom Hearts.
That's already happened by the time you hear this. So I also I was just thinking to myself, like, Jedi and Sith can't have one without the other. That's what went through my head for some reason, but it didn't work. It sounded better in my head. So that's my dumb song. But no, I mean, it's just cool to see the Sith where he has the lightsaber, but he also has like that weird whip thing that he can tie people up with and kill them with, and it was interesting. I just like seeing Jedi and Sith fight each other. So
yeah,
but it doesn't. He drops to his death, and then she saves him. So maybe this one isn't as depressing as some of them. Like,
no, this one it worked out in the end. Like he actually got around everything, because they were really worried he was going to drop to the dark side too.
Yeah,
and he didn't. He resisted it.
Okay, so 1 wasn't depressing so far. Whew, we're what? 1 out of
2.
The
I Am Your Mother isn't depressing. It's just
okay. 2 out of 5
so far.
So well, yeah, you're right. The mother one is just kind of boring, and I don't like the art style, but at least it's not depressing. So all right. Let's see. What is the next one? That is the Spy Dancer, which Studio La Chachette from France.
Oh, they're from France? I couldn't have fucking figured that out.
No, even though the entire episode Cirque du Soleil.
I didn't realize it was France. I didn't know these were all different countries before I pulled up this Wikipedia and started reading these to you guys. Makes a lot more sense now that they weren't all Japanese. Like, I was wondering, like, why is this such weird animation?
After the 4th one, I went and looked it up because I'm like, what are they doing?
It makes more sense now, but I'm also fine where I hate when people bring it up, or people who are assholes basically, whenever they're like, oh well, I'll get to it in the next episode, but like, these are obviously French people, but like the whole point of people are like, you can have French or other people in like these works of fiction, and it's like, this is space. You can have whoever you want to here. You could have a whole planet of French people, and no one would fucking care.
I mean, you can't. I mean, I didn't tell they were French until now that I'm looking back at it. I can really feel like Paris vibes to this. And when I mean Paris vibes, I mean 1942 Paris.
Yep. And it was based on the whole idea of like how burlesque and those kind of shows were done. They were hiding the spies right in among there, getting stuff from the German troops, right? You could see that right through that episode.
I mean, and you had the fact that like Germany Paris was just one of their cities during World War II. The Nazis it was just there. And you had a lot of people, a lot of soldiers just kind of partying while playing the Saboteur game. Great game. Also on this podcast too, if you want to hear that episode. And like, you know, it fits that very much so of just all these stormtroopers, which are, again, references to Nazis. That's what we're going to call stormtroopers. Like being at a restaurant, bar type place, auditorium, whatever word you want to use here. And, you know, like, yes, these people are entertaining them, but at the same time, they're plotting their doom too, because they're the oppressor, in their country.
Really weird tangent. I hate Star Wars Land, Disney Star Wars Land, because obviously, and you mentioned that, Mike, and it's obviously with this too, but the stormtroopers are very much supposed to be the Nazis, and especially with the way they dress too and everything that's supposed to be implied. I hate going to Star Wars Land, and it's like, do you want to buy a bunch of like, what is it called, like what is it called officially in Star Wars canon?
What?
Like the Empire. Do you want to buy a bunch of like Empire like shirts and like uniforms and hats and stuff? And it's like, I don't feel comfortable dressing like a space Nazi. Disneyland, please stop selling this merchandise.
Oh, to be fair, the real Nazis don't use the stormtrooper. They might use the Punisher symbol, other stuff like that. So, or they have their own symbols they use, and some of them start with a big T. So that's a different story. But
and they wear red hat.
Mm-hmm. They don't have anything to do with. I mean, Imperial stuff. I mean, I've never seen anybody who was a complete dirtbag with an Imperial shirt, even though it would be fitting. Usually, people like that aren't into science fiction, I think, too. So, or miss the point, because Star Wars is purposely looking at you and saying you're the bad guy. And I think people aren't that stupid to be like, yeah, these are the good guys. Like, no, people know the Empire's bad.
Yeah, like every game growing up and everything, I always picked to be the bad guys if I could, and that was including Star Wars. I always did the stormtroopers and that, but I never had any illusions to the fact that they weren't horrible people.
Okay.
No, and you don't see Star Wars in the memes and where you miss the point like you do with like Fight Club and Breaking Bad and stuff like that. So it's not one of those things that people end up finding interesting.
Or to be fair, I also can't say that either because Mike doesn't know what I'm talking about. Jody, you watch Bleach?
No, I haven't watched Bleach. That's one I haven't.
Okay. Bleach has a bad guy that are very much, they're called the Quincy, and they dress in German outfits, and it's very much, I believe, like their like Black Ops team is called like the Stern Ritters, and like,
oh wow,
yeah, and I'm like, oh, they're so cool. And my husband's like, those are fucking Nazis, right? I'm like, I'm allowed to say they're cool looking though. I don't believe in what they believe in.
Well, one I always think of with it was Full Metal Alchemist, because I love Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah, they are
but they're specifically, well, they're literally the German in that world, because it's a parallel world. Like, he's even called the Führer.
Yeah, Mike, the leader in Full Metal Alchemist is called the Führer. Like, it's
and you start off thinking they're the good guys. Well, you don't, but the main characters think they're the good guys until not very long in, and they realize, oh wait, we joined not good people.
I wasn't a big fan of this episode until it got to like her backstory.
When she went to kill Buddy and it turned out not to be the old man she thought it was, that's when I started liking this episode.
No, that's fair. That it does get better. Like the whole idea is that she wanted to assassinate this officer who destroyed her town, and then when she gets to him and realizes that it's not who she thought it was and the guy is her son, like it has a cute moment.
Did you rewatch the end? I had to rewatch the end to see if he had horns, because he shaved the hat. Yeah,
it's like they're shaved off.
When they first took it off, I thought it was saying that, wait, this was actually the wrong guy. She had the wrong guy. I didn't notice the shaved off part. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
this was wrong first. So I went and rewatched it. I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's just he shaved this horns off so he would match in with the other people.
Well, I mean, to be fair, one thing with the Empire, if you pay a lot of attention to it, is they don't really like aliens. It's weird. Yeah. They only like white humans.
I've never noticed that, actually.
Oh, yeah. If you watch a lot, I mean, okay, you will see other types of humans, but it's really just humans. There are very, very few aliens ever in the Empire, which again is a reference to what Star Wars is basing the Empire on. It's Nazi Germany. Like, that's what they're going for there too. I mean, anytime you have fascism, you usually have one type of people, and in real life we don't have aliens, so that's what they were going for. But yeah, pay attention to that in Star Wars. You'll see it all the time.
I was gonna say, because Thrawn's a blue guy, so but
But Thrawn also, the Kree Empire was an ally they joined with. They're actually, especially if you read the books, the Empire's not very happy working with him.
oh,
They use him because
like
of his
him?
genius.
Yeah, he's just really good. And since you brought it up, Jody, I am going to say I met Timothy Zahn today and had him sign an Admiral Thrawn Funko Pop for me. Yeah,
that's why I brought it up. I saw on the Discord.
That is cool.
I forgot. Yeah, I got to meet Timothy Zahn today, and who's the author of the Heir to the Empire and created Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
I actually been waiting to meet him for like 3 years now because he comes every year to a convention I go to. But I never had an Admiral Thrawn Funko Pop, and I wanted him to sign his character, and I wasn't going to pay the exorbitant amount that they wanted for the one Thrawn that existed, and they published one not too long ago, so I got him to sign it today.
Oh, nice.
I got a picture with
That
him,
is
and
really
he has his name badge, says his name, but also is like, it's the Imperial badge of all like different little ranks.
Oh,
That's
cool.
what he wears on his shirt.
I didn't know what that was when I saw it, so that's actually pretty cool that he wears that.
I knew exactly. I'm like, that is cool. He seemed really nice. He was real nice to all the people that came up, and he wasn't even charging really. If you signed it, if he brought his book or had his book, he didn't charge you anything to sign any of his books. So,
that's cool.
Nice.
That's a cool guy.
Oh, that's nice.
He charged for my Funko Pop $10. I'm like, of course, I don't mind at all. Like, you're signing my Funko Pop, I'm happy.
That's nothing. I've been to conventions where people charge like $60 a fucking pop, and sometimes they're nice enough where it's like, oh, you only bought one thing. Well, here's a poster and everything else too that I'll sign for free as well. But
speaking of Star Wars, Hayden Christensen was there, but I didn't meet him because he was $240 to sign a Funko Pop, and I was like, and a 4-hour line to go with it. I'm like, as much as I want to meet you, I'm good.
I get that. Also, I'm slowly becoming a huge fan. Absolute Batman fights like that, of throwing out like fucking whips and shit and like pulling people in. So I'm also a really big fan of that too. Whenever the action kicked up in this, I started like really enjoying it.
Well, the action is good. Like this was kind of cool. Like seeing her, try to fight these people, and that you have like a whole rebel resistance that goes against these stormtroopers and everything. I mean, it had some cool moments. It kind of was still depressing. I mean, yes, she doesn't kill the guy. She finds out it's her son, but what is he going to do with this? Yes, you are his bio mother, but he's been raised by the Empire. This is his world, and
it's just sort of a little. It was a seed that could go somewhere, but it almost needs more to this story.
Yeah, and even if it does go somewhere, is his life going to be better now that he knows? Like, is it better now that he knows his father, in quotations, killed his people? I mean, this is a situation, in my opinion, where ignorance is bliss.
Well, he was definitely happier. You could just see it on his face.
It was interesting, though.
So is that big robot the thing that we always see like in fucking other Star Wars media where they're fucking terrifying?
It was the robot. It reminded me of the robot from Rogue One. That type of, and he's also in the Star Wars Fallen Order.
Same one, but it's the same thing in the Fallen Order games. They are so bloody annoying to fight. At least in the first one. I never played the second one. But man, they are annoying. And I think that was the idea of what they are. I like when she cut it in half. Even though it like panned away, I'm like, that's still coming for you because it'll do that.
They don't go down easy. I mean, the Empire made some pretty good stuff.
I checked too because I because of this I really got into another Star Wars kick. The last Star Wars game, Survivor, is on sale for like $20. I'm gonna go buy it real quick after this.
Oh wow!
I'm really tempted. I'm hoping that it will go a little bit lower, but I'm actually hoping it'll be in a Humble Bundle or something crazy, or Epic will have it for free at the end of this year. Maybe. I'm hoping. I doubt it, but I'm hoping because I do want it. I just don't want to pay for it yet.
If you ever want to play it for the podcast and you don't mind, if you can remember, I think you can play it for free if you get that stupid EA pass thing.
Yeah, but I also don't like EA that much. So, But yeah, no, it is in that pass. I'd rather just buy it though at that point. But yeah, it'll happen. I did Fallen Order on the show. I'll definitely do Survivor at some point. All right, that brings us to episode 7, The Bandits of Golak, developed by 88 Pictures, and this one is from India, which really makes sense.
It also looks a lot like the Clone Wars CGI TV show.
Yeah, it does.
It also looks a lot like India.
Yeah,
and on a train. India has a lot of trains, I think. That's what the internet has told me.
In media, at least.
Yeah, media has told me. I mean, Big Bang Theory makes jokes about it too, about trains in India, I think too. So
they made the Inquisitor look like what do you call them? they were royalty in India during the British occupation. The Rajas, I think they're called.
I think you're right. I need to watch Temple of Doom again.
Yeah, because he was dressed like a old
Yeah, he
style
is.
Raja.
I mean, this is cool because this is what it would be like. I mean, if there are other planets out there, or the idea like with Star Wars that you have all these different civilizations throughout the galaxy, you're gonna have different stuff, and this fits. Like this is another planet, another area. You know, these are just people that are run by the Empire that are scared of bandits, and the Empire, you know, they have bandits. It just feels like a normal city living under the Empire, except for the fact that this girl is force sensitive, so she's going to be a problem for them because the Empire is going to hunt you and kill you.
I did think that was pretty realistic though. Like with the Empire, they would have people watching out for anything. Like there was a bounty out basically. If you see somebody with weird powers, tell us.
Yeah, because it wasn't that long ago before the Jedi were around, even though the Empire does a very good job of trying to erase that they ever existed. So, I mean, I know people still have a hard time trying to buy that whole idea. Like, how did people not know that the Jedi were real when Han Solo was like, hey, you know, the Jedi, that's all folklore. But again,
it's uneven in the media is the problem, because all the media we see pretty much, for the most part, has Jedi in it. But the idea is that they are actually really rare, that you could go on entire planets and never meet a Jedi, be there your whole life. So that's why the folklore, but it doesn't match what we actually see in the media.
Yeah, just because Jedi are more interesting to watch.
Exactly.
Or play as, depending if it's a game. So I get it. I mean, this wasn't bad. The animation's fine. I didn't mind it.
It was a little, I don't even know what to say, because it wasn't exactly slow. Like there was lots of action, but it just seemed like it was slow getting to the point of what they were actually doing. I don't know.
I think that's fair. I mean, the point of it was to fight stormtroopers, I guess. He steals candy. Like, I mean, it's just trying to protect his sister, and the people are trying to essentially sell her the Empire because, like you said, there's gonna be bounties. So
yeah,
he's just trying to protect his sister.
You would think she would have been a little more careful, but I guess they came from a farming village or something, it seemed like. So maybe she didn't have to hide her powers there.
Kids are also kids too, so.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. Kids would just do it without really thinking about it. And if you grew up on a small town where everybody knows your name, like, you know, they're not going to sell you to the Empire. But when you're in a place where you have people who are, you know, traveling, or people, they don't give a shit who you are, like, fuck you, like, I'll sell you, okay, bye. You know, like, that makes sense.
How old do you think she was supposed to be?
10 to 12.
Yeah, okay. When I first started watching it, I was thinking older, and then as it went further, I'm like, no, I think she's younger than I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, no, she's definitely young, because she's hopeful, she's charismatic, and in this world, I don't think most people are real hopeful during the Empire time.
Yeah.
Because the Empire's terrible.
This is
ruined
where
planets.
Yeah.
Constantly. I mean, you see it in here, you see it in all the fiction. Like, they are not good people.
Also have a weird question for y'all, because I'm not real super familiar with Star Wars lore. I need to get on that too, by the way. And I say that with the Clone Wars and the other shows that have been coming out. Or
Watch Clone Wars. Watch Rebels.
Rebels is the one to watch.
Rebels is good. Just force yourself past the first season and you'll be thankful for the rest.
That's what I've heard.
I know it sucks. I don't like saying that to people. Be like, oh, you just got to get through the first 20. I mean, like, it's really just the first 4 episodes are a little rough, but the show is really, really good. So,
Mike, you're talking to a dude who watches anime. A lot of first seasons of anime are fucking
amazing. That's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Can Inquisitors use the Force?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yes.
They're Jedi. They were Jedi.
They are former Jedi.
Are they former Jedi? I always thought they were just people they picked up. And
the original ones were former Jedi. Some of the later ones may or may not be. It's not exactly clear.
Okay.
But they're pretty close. I mean, like, some are younglings that were captured when the purge happens. Throughout the comics, some are children that were force sensitive that were then taken and trained and become Inquisitors. I mean, you think about the Empire's only around for what, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
It's not very long.
Is it?
Not very long. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, goddamn.
Luke's only, 18 in the first movie?
Oh, God, yeah. And he takes him out by the third movie, so...
By, the third movie, and I think it's only supposed to be, 3 years or something, so it's, 20 years, 21 years.
Yeah, so, it makes sense they would be younglings. Yeah, it makes sense they would be younglings.
See, this is the idea where you were asking, with the rule of 2, there's supposed to be 2, but the Dark Jedi, that's different, because they're dark, but they're not Sith. So it's one of those things that they needed
Sith
more Force people to put into these shows, because you can't have the same 2 Sith fighting everybody.
But also, the Sith knew that they needed more Force-sensitive people to fight the Jedi, because the rule of two doesn't really work. But the idea is that the Inquisitors and anyone else is so below Vader that they don't matter.
Yeah, we can use them, but they'll never try to get power from us, because that's the idea of the rule of two, is that nobody's going to usurp you this way, except your apprentice will eventually pass you. And Palpatine tried to even break that.
Well, he tried to make it that you couldn't, because there's too many of him.
This one, though, this is one where it bothered me at the end, where he can't go, and I'm like, come on, you're going into hiding anyway. Take him. Just take her.
I mean, he's going to be wanted, too.
Yeah. Just take the brother.
They kill an Inquisitor, like, there's gonna be information about this guy who was with this Force-sensitive girl. These townfolk are 100% gonna rat him out, like...
Well, the Inquisitor went searching for him, not her, because he was the one that caused the big stir on the train.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to find her through him. So he's probably the one that all the records are talking about.
Yeah, and he's the one that's gonna get tortured and cut to pieces.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, that's what they're gonna do. Like, Empire's not exactly good people. Like, if you read enough Star Wars stuff, like, it ain't gonna be pretty what's gonna happen to him.
This is why I found this one depressing. Like, she got away with the old woman, great, but take Charuk, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've watched too much Star Wars when that is the part that keeps bothering me.
No, it's fair, because you wanted it. It's not really a happy ending, in my opinion. Yes, she's safe. She goes off somewhere. She will be taken care of. But they know there's a Jedi. They're going to know the Inquisitor doesn't report back. Something happened. Mm-hmm. It ain't going to end well. So I consider that one depressing too. Right, that brings us to episode 9, The Pit, which is developed by Dart Chatillo. I probably pronounced that wrong. And Lucasfilm. So Japan and United States.
This is episode 8.
What I said 9. Oops.
Did 9. Yeah.
8.
Yeah, there's one more after this.
Unfortunately.
This one fucking hurt like a lot.
Yeah.
This one's depressing too.
This one's hell at... We talk about how a lot of them are kind of depressing and are depressing. This one is genuinely fucking depressing.
And it's like they have this theme throughout of, oh, there's good in all people. And like, yeah, don't show very much of it.
I think the kick in the face, which we'll get to it, but the whole idea is that there's people that show up, or they have people they've captured or arrested or whatever, and they're bringing them to a planet. Which honestly, I don't know shit about Kyber crystal lore. Then again, all lore is thrown out the window with this, so it's whatever. They find a planet with they're looking for a Kyber ore, and they basically just dig straight down, which Minecraft has taught me you're not supposed to do. So they ain't teach these fucking people that either.
Yeah.
I was also wondering where the hell they put in the dirt, because we just see them digging with pickaxes, and then they're in a giant hole, and I'm like, well, where's the dirt going? Like, what are you doing? But that's neither here nor there.
I assume they planned it. Like, they planned for this to happen, obviously.
I mean, you see them have, like, when they have ramps, they go down to some of the holes, because the whole, like you said, these prisoners are being taken to places that's just digging a pit forever.
Yeah, because in the real world, that's not how mines work. Even like strip mines where they do the whole open face mine, you have to have ramps built on the walls and everything, or it just collapses. This isn't how real mines work, but it's it's good for the story that you just dig straight down and now they can't get out.
I mean, I'm guessing the idea was that either they were airlifted in and out, or they must have had food and things to survive down there, because they're not as scared as they should be.
Well, I think they have to, because at one point, Buddy tells them there's no point trying to leave. Yeah. We might as well just stay here. Unless they had some way to get food, you're going to die anyway. Of course, try to leave. Yeah. So they must have something down there. Yeah.
You also just dig up, like.
That is true. If you dug that,
that's what I was thinking.
Deep, you could dig a ramp out.
You have tools. Or do they take their tools?
They might have taken their tools, whenever like there's stuff happening, you see them kind of with some pickaxes, and there's people with like those weird spray paint can backpack things too. But I mean, who fucking knows?
It's just a weird story. Like, they're mining kyber crystals, and I guess then they're taking the kyber crystals to a city nearby or something, and like they just keep digging till at one point they hit solid ground, and then they're like, okay, that's done. Like, how do you know that's done? But then it was just weird to me. But I guess, throughout the images, when it speeds up time, you see the ramp getting smaller and smaller, so maybe they're kind of getting rid of the ramps as they go farther in. They're just being airlifted in and out or something.
I do find it hard to believe that these people that are willing to go and get them out didn't know that all these slaves were building this pit just outside their city.
I mean, to be fair, people are very oblivious to things that don't concern them.
I guess that's it.
I mean, I've worked in retail enough. That is a true thing. I used to, like, for example, we had a self-serve copy where I used to work, and like some of the simple things where it just says people just wouldn't even read the screen and just cry for help. Like, people don't pay attention to things around them.
Yeah, so I guess that's it.
I work tech support, and people tell me stuff that they think they are legitimately smarter than me at stuff.
How's that work out for them?
I usually get in trouble.
Oh.
I had a guy call because he was upset because I guess like where they call them like pedestals. Like if you ever look outside, interesting tidbit. You ever look outside and see like a green, like basically kind of box in like the middle of somewheres that feeds internet to your house?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently this guy was calling because a hornet nest planted in there and ate all the wires because hornets are fucking bastards.
They are bastards.
He got mad and called back and was like, it looks like it's full of hornets again. Can y'all do something about it? And so I sent it up and they sent it back down and they're like, okay, we'll let someone know, but we'll get to it when we get to it. And the guy was legitimately pissed off. He's like, you don't know how fast hornets can eat through stuff. You need to get someone out here right now. And I'm like, dude, do you know how fast hornets eat stuff? Because I don't think it's that big of a deal. But
well, yeah, no, that's just customer service in general. So, I know, because I am curious how fast hornets eat through stuff. They can take months to complete a hornet's nest, which is made from chewed wood and saliva.
I get them in my backyard every year. I got about a month before I can destroy them before they get very big.
Yeah, I hate fucking hornets. Thankfully, I don't have any. Wasps may eat through drywall, but only when it has been compromised.
Yeah, they won't do solid drywall. They'll do wood, not solid drywall.
There's your fun fact for you, Joe.
Awesome.
So, no, they wouldn't have done. I think it'll be okay. The wires are not made out of wood.
Yeah, so that guy was just full of shit then in general.
He didn't want hornets near his property, probably. His private property.
They could destroy wires, not so much that they're going to eat through them, if they gung up something. Like they build the nest too much through it. But that's going to take them a while, because it takes them a while to build it big.
Yeah. I mean, the internet just told me through 5 seconds of Googling, it can take months. Yeah. Like, you called, you did what you can, just say, okay.
Well, I had a football-sized one the year I moved in, because I didn't see them building it. And he told me they were building it all year. And this was like the end of summer. He told me they were building it all year.
Yeah, they're fast little fuckers.
Yeah,
they don't stop. And then you get to murder them all.
Also, the end of the story too is this guy was just mad because he's like, you need to do something before I lose internet. And it's like, dude, you're not going to lose internet like immediately. Like, we'll take a look at it, but there's a list of people. Like, we're not going to send someone right now, this minute, to go out there and spray for hornets.
No.
People are crazy.
Yeah.
What can I say? Or you can do what my dad used to do with hornets. He worked at a monastery and had a fish pond. So he would gas them, and then he would take when they were all sleepy, and they start to wake up, and he would feed them to his koi.
Yeah, koi.
He would just hold it above the koi pond and watch them drop in there and disappear.
It's crazy.
The koi were happy.
Yeah. Speaking of crazy people, so that guy escapes the fucking hole and goes to go tell people they're down there.
Thank you.
Poor guy.
I like it. I find it amusing that the way he escapes, his moles dig holes for him, and all I can think of is they were earthbenders.
That's a good one.
That's what went through my head.
Well, they sort of look like the what were they called, mole rats? They were like armadillos.
Armadillos.
Yeah.
Or not armadillos. Sort of like an what do you call them? Pangolins. They're like pangolins digging in the dirt.
So he goes to town. He tells people that they're there, and then what happens to him?
I got the hardest
into the pit.
I had like.
Does he survive?
No. I had the hardest lump in my throat when they do that. It feels so fucking bad.
That's like they stunned him, so he was probably even conscious, and then just threw him in the hole.
Okay, because I remember him being dragged, and then I must have looked down, or probably was Marvel snapping, and then next thing I know, like eventually the people come to the hole, and I'm like, what happened to him?
The people just like the ones that were down there just covered him with a blanket. You just saw.
Oh, would his body even be like anything at that point? You fall down that far.
It'd be like falling off a skyscraper.
I think he'd just be smushed. But okay, I did not catch that. That's even depressing. That, and then eventually the people, they all start singing, and the people in the hole start singing, and the people in the city come there, and they eventually start rescuing everybody out of the hole.
Yeah, which of course just means that the Empire is now going to destroy that city because you
rebelled.
Yeah.
So
like, I don't know. This story was.
Did y'all see the after credit scene at least?
Where there's a rock.
No.
There's a rock that's painted with.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
sorry.
With the mural of everything that happened, which is a really cool painting. But like, it's still a really depressing story because it's one of the things where I'm not a big fan of like hero dies so everyone can survive kind of thing.
Yeah.
Me either. It was again depressing. I think what are we now? 7.
It's 8.
No, I mean for how many are depressing?
Oh, for how many depressing?
6 of them.
6 out of
Yeah, yeah, 6 out of 8 are depressing, and I want to say the last one's not that bad. So we're three out of 9 have decent endings, non-depressing.
I think the pit was meant to have hope, but I'm like, it's the hope in the little bit of good that's in people. And I'm like, when that kind of oppressive regime, I don't trust people that much to stand up.
Yeah, no,
that's the depressing part to me. Yeah.
You can't make it good. And the last one we come to is I don't know how to pronounce this. Song? Song?
Awu?
Okay.
It's Awu. Yeah, like
Awu Song by Triggerfish Animation Studios from South Africa.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This is the other one that is stop motion, but it's a different kind of stop motion. Again, much more modern.
It reminds me of something, but I can't remember what it is. It kind of reminds me of like the Kubo movie or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but
there is a movie with a very similar look to it. Apparently, I Am Your Mother and this one were both published as a comic book together.
Oh, that's cool.
So this the animation, this one I don't really care for a whole lot because it's stop animation, and it reminded me of Yoshi's Crafted World, which I've never played, but I know of. Like they look like they look like felt toys. So I mean, it was cool, but I was like, I just don't care for it.
I like it. Everything looks so fucking huggable in this. How do you feel, Jody?
No, the animation does not. I'm not a fan of stop motion. It's well done, but it's just not something I'm interested in. It's like, nah. And this one is more. I think this one works more for children too.
For sure.
Yeah, this one's a nice one actually to get your kid interested.
So the is that guy essentially her father that she's living with, and he's a miner for kyber crystals again. But the idea is that for some reason her voice resonates with kyber crystals, so if she talks, they explode.
Yeah.
Even though the town that she lives in is essentially a mining town for kyber crystals, like that might not be a good thing if you talk and your whole ground just starts exploding. But hey,
well, she doesn't even speak till the very end. She only sings, and it's the singing that sets off the kyber crystal.
They resonate because they're living crystal, I think.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, basically.
They're supposed to be if they're alive.
So basically, she's force sensitive, but does it through song. So it's another unique force sensitivity.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I liked that. I thought it was interesting. The story I liked, but I didn't like the animation.
I was just bored at this point of the season. Like I just didn't care at all. And it is a very. There's no like action per se in this episode. It was just a story where the worst thing that happens is I guess her voice starts to resonate with the crystals, and then her father jumps in and stops it from going through, and of course then the mountain's going to collapse because he intervened. Oh, okay, that's what's happening. Like she just starts singing for some reason.
I don't know why she started singing when she's in the middle of all those kyber crystals.
Yeah, like she knew what could happen, and you also have a stranger that shows up that turns out to be a Jedi, I think it was, and
so they say a little bit. They basically they mine for kyber crystals, which is even weirder because I think from what you see, the entire planet is like kyber crystals. But the dad mentioned something where he's telling the Jedi, he's like, this is the biggest cache that we've ever seen so far, and they're all really, really corrupted. And I think the idea that it's supposed to get from it is that I don't think he's worried about her blowing them up. I think he's worried about her, I guess, messing it up, because as you saw her when she stopped singing, it burnt the shit out of him or something.
It burnt his hand because he was holding the crystal.
Yeah,
because he's hiding it from the stranger because he didn't want the stranger to know what she could do.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, the Sith had been there and poisoned all the crystals. That's why they were all red.
Oh,
that's in that opening crawl.
The idea you could also get from is that they jump from planet to planet, like they go looking for kyber crystal mines too. So it could be that this isn't their home planet. They're just here doing work.
Except that at the very end, he said she's going to be the first one of their people to go to the stars.
Oh yeah, it's true.
So yeah, they live in a kyber crystal planet, but I mean, not unusual for like whatever your resource is. That's what you do. That's all. I don't have much of a better answer.
Yeah, I said, the story here I liked. The animation was just not my thing, but.
The animation was tough. I mean, there were some cute moments, like where she saves her dad, but then eventually does she go with the Jedi or does she stay? Oh yeah, she goes with the Jedi, but leaves her dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found that a little sad too, but it's not supposed to be sad. But again, it was hard for me to they look like felt toys.
Yeah, it's just the one I got that same issue that I always have with them. I'm like, just let them keep in touch. They don't even have to. She doesn't have to stay. She can go, but let her keep in touch with her father.
But then you have the really fucked up scene where she goes back home and her wife's like, "What did you do?" And she goes, "I murdered them the women and the children too, or killed all of them. God,
he wasn't allowed to keep in touch. If he had been keeping in touch, she wouldn't have had to.
And don't forget, after he tells her that, later on in that movie, she says, "I love you, let's get married." Don't forget that part.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Hayden Christensen kills that fucking scene. I don't give a fuck who says. Like, everyone takes that scene as a joke, but I feel him in that scene, and I hate when people make fun of it. Yeah, he's a good actor.
No, it's not his fault that he was fed a bunch of bullshit. Like, it's not his fault. He didn't write the script that said sad is rough. I don't like sad, but you're soft. Like, he didn't write that bullshit. That was Lucas. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. No, I mean, I think he showed over. Like, if you see him in other movies, he's a good actor. He just didn't have good material to work with. That's another example of what happens when you have a director that surrounds himself with yes men and doesn't have other people helping him with this project. Because you look at Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3, or no, sorry, 3, 4, 5, and 6. He's not the only one involved. I don't think he even directs all of them. Like, other people are, like Empire Strikes Back, directed by somebody else. Like, you need that. You need other people to be involved in your artistic vision. And when you only surround yourself with people who are gonna just tell you what you want to hear because they want that paycheck to keep coming, you get the prequels, which aren't terrible, but they are good.
1 and 3 are good. 2 is
I like 1.
Okay. I like 3.
3 is good if you watched all the Clone Wars and go, okay,
yeah,
the Clone Wars came first.
That part is true. Yeah.
Without it, like, if you just watched it by 1, 2, and 3, there isn't enough reasoning for him to hate the Jedi. But when you watch the Clone Wars show, then it feels like it's enough. But again, the Clone Wars show came out later. I mean, there's Tarkovsky Clone Wars. Even Tarkovsky's is a little bit better. That was released beforehand.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not enough. There's not enough time between really a movie that never happened to have a character. Like, there just wasn't enough of it. Like, they could have made it work in Revenge of the Sith. You could have had a few moments that they didn't have to show the Jedi him being betrayed, like telling him to never see Padme again. You know, you need to leave. You need to go somewhere else on a pilgrimage and never speak to her again.
I think they just said, because at that point it was only the Tarkovsky one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When it actually came out.
Yeah.
I guess I saw enough of that I felt like there was something there, but
you are right, there is. I didn't watch Tarkovsky's Clone Wars until years later.
I watched it as it came out, and so I guess but I know everybody else was ticked off, and I'm like, it was good. It wasn't my favorite. My favorite of the original 3 is the first.
Same.
Yeah.
New Hope is my favorite.
So, if anything, too, as well, which I think is also funnier, they also, what was it? They also learned their lesson with the third trilogy. They just released and confirmed that, like, oh yeah, no, we're getting the same writer for all 3 movies. We learned our lessons from the third trilogy of having 3 different writers and fucking up that entire storyline twice.
That's the thing. It's like, I'm okay with the sequels. They're all right, but they're not good.
They're not good, but I blame Disney. I blame
blame the multiple writers in that. Like, they had no plan going in. And you can't have no plan for 3 movies. You're trying to fix holes you make.
And they fucked each other over, because that second movie should not have ended the way it should have.
Yeah, no, they let their issues.
Well, I read the comic that they had for the original plan for the third, and I do like it better.
God, I need
perfect
to cover
either.
that.
It's not perfect. I read it because you sent it to me, right? And I sat down and read it. And
Trey did, but it was from me.
Somebody did. Yeah.
It was Trey, but it was one of our podcast recordings.
I've seen stuff from the third movie, the What If script, and a lot of that I like way more. Even with the weird romance stuff in it, I like it way more than the third movie that we got.
Yeah, when you watch the third movie, it really feels like they were just trying to forget that the second movie happened, because the critics got upset, but also the other part of that whole thing is you had a lot of right-wing base get upset about The Last Jedi and made a bigger deal about it than was necessary. So,
I'm sorry. The biggest thing that messes me up is Finn got screwed over.
Oh yeah,
and Rose got screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
Rose should have had a part to play at all.
Mm-hmm.
I to this day refuse to watch that third movie. I actually have yet to see it. As far as I'm
watch
concerned,
it once.
I liked it when I first watched it until I rewatched it and started catching all the holes. Because I first watched it and I liked the Empire thing because it just brought me back to the novels I had read with a similar idea that I did like. But then when I rewatched it, there's just too many holes.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that series ends on the second movie with Rey and Ben killing Snoke, and they both look at each other, shake hands, walk away, and that's the end of the movie. Nothing happens after that. Everything's fine, as far as I'm concerned.
That would be a better movie.
Yep.
Yeah, well, most of my problems. No, I have one other big problem with that movie. The entire going to the gambling planet, and it does nothing to the story.
Hey, it has the kid get that has the force at the very end of the movie to let you know there's hope in the galaxy.
Oh, yeah, that bothered me. It bothered me that half that movie just didn't need to happen.
No, it doesn't have a purpose, and that's part of the problem. Like, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's my whole reason.
We have a whole episode about. We covered all the Star Wars movies, so go listen to all those.
Yeah, you did. I came in on your last one. I was there.
So yeah, we did the whole series, except for the Ewok movies, which I meant to do, and they're actually sitting on my. They've been sitting on my phone too, like the same as
I've never watched them.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I know they're not good.
No, they're bad. I was actually about to record one of them like over a year ago. Me, my wife, and someone else, and then she backed out because she just had too much shit happen to her all of a sudden. And I've been meaning to do it, and I just haven't done it yet. And I've had people say, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it with you." I'm just like, "Yes, but do I want to watch it again?"
You only watched the first, or you watched all of them?
I only watched the first Ewok movie.
Because I actually hear that's the best of them.
Yeah, I know. The first one is Lord of the Rings with Ewoks. It really is. It's kind of cute, but still a bad movie.
Are we still getting that documentary?
What documentary?
We're supposed to be getting a documentary of why the Star Wars Christmas special failed.
Oh yeah, they're supposed to be working on that. I want to see.
Hey, there's an episode on this podcast about that movie too.
Well, I watched the Christmas special.
I have to. More than
I
once.
actually liked the little Boba Fett anime scene.
That was not too bad.
I like that.
Right.
The rest of it is pretty bad.
Oh, and there is a Visions Volume 3 supposedly coming.
Really?
Supposedly.
Oh.
So from what they said it wasn't in production earlier this year. And then one thing I read said it would probably come out between May 4th of 2024 and December of 2024. So depending on when you hear this, might be December or January of 2025. It either came out already or not. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I heard.
It'll probably get announced with all the other stuff they did because we just got a big like Marvel dump, so we're due for our Star Wars dump soon because we just got the showcase of all the Marvel shit that's coming out in the next year, like the Spider-Man animated show and all the Thunderbolts and all those other all those other fucking shit that we're getting. So we should be getting a Marvel one soon, which is basically just probably going to be like January or February, where it's like, oh, here's what we're coming out for May the 4th and all the TV shows, and we'll probably get a teaser for episode 10.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be nice. I'm ready for more Star Wars. It's been a while, so we're supposed to get the Mandalorian Grogu movie at some point too.
That's supposed to be the next thing to come out.
Did we already get the What If series yet?
What, for Marvel?
The Star Wars What If.
They're doing a Star Wars What If? I hadn't heard of that.
I hadn't heard of that either.
It's all on Lego.
Visions is.
Oh, the Lego. Yes, I did hear about that.
Yeah, with
that's supposed to be coming out next year, I think.
Legos doesn't count to me.
It counts for them because it's all What If. We're supposed to be getting a white Darth Vader and a Sith Jar Jar Binks and a whole bunch of other goofy shit. And I don't know why they made it Lego. And people were even like, "Why did you guys had the best idea? Why is it Lego?" And they're just like, "Ooh,
because we're gonna sell toys to you. That's why."
The toy's already out, I think.
Well, that's why. I mean, I guarantee you, if it does well, there will be figures of it. So in the Legend series, guarantee it. All right, we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And I'm going to start with Carrie, who couldn't be here, but he did give me his, because he was going to be on this episode, but he got sick before our recording. But he did send me his paragraph. And here's what Carrie Chandler had to say. Just like with season 1, the anime episodes are great. The kiddie animation episodes are fine, but not really enjoyable to watch. There were also 2 episodes with a very experimental style, Sith and In the Stars, that are worth the price of admission on their own, but I hated that Wallace and Gromit episode. And he said, stack. I think that's her. And Jody, what about you?
So I loved the first Visions. This one, it's good enough that I want to see a third. I definitely do.
Okay.
But yeah, be a little more uplifting and maybe a little less experimental. Because that's just not my style.
That's fair.
But other than that, yeah, I'd say stack. I'm not going to box it. It's decent, but I'm not in no hurry to watch it either.
Okay. And what about you, Joe?
Shelf, actually. I loved every single one of the episodes. I had laughs. I teared up. Actually, the last episode, I teared up a little bit at the end too, because it was actually pretty good too. But I don't know. Maybe I've slowly becoming in a better mood. I say that because I've pretty much come home every day inebriated from what's been going on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but I didn't watch this when I was a bad day. I woke up this morning, made me some breakfast, and put this on and had a really good time with it. Surprisingly, I had a really good time with it too. But I do see the issues as well. So I'm hoping they fix a lot of it in the third. And I honestly hope we keep getting these 2 because I love anything Star Wars that's not the fucking Skywalker saga. So
same.
Yeah,
we need more stuff. You know, we need more stuff that isn't the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
So I've been saying that for a while. You know, things that are different.
And I honestly, I can't wait to watch Acolyte because I've heard great things about Acolyte, even though it got canceled.
I need to do it. Actually, I was actually up to date on the live action stuff, except for Acolyte it finished in like August or September, which is my Spooktober time, and I didn't get to it yet. And then I should have did it during Spooktober so it could have released right away when I was done, but I have not.
I was about to watch it, and then I heard bad things. So actually interested that I'm hearing good things.
We're going to do it. We're going to record it later this year.
100% ignore the bad things. From what I've heard, all the bad things are a bunch of the same bad things about episode 9, which is, a girl can't be Jedi. What is this? And that's all of the stuff I've ever heard about.
Oh, I definitely gotta watch it then.
Yeah. I feel like I need a little bit more woke content in quotations. And yes, I'm being sarcastic. So, all right, I'll go last. I'm going to put this in the box. I didn't enjoy this thing at all. I was bored. I was depressed. I didn't want to watch this. I was like, why is this not good? And yeah, it's going in the box. Yep. I'm never going to watch Volume 2 again. So yeah, that's all. Again, it could have been timing, but I didn't really, not even the animation, I didn't enjoy it. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad it exists. And I am ready. I look forward to Volume 3 because I enjoyed Volume 1 a lot.
Yeah, I'm home just for more, maybe a balance between the first and second.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm ready to see more. I also can't believe that this came out in 2023 and we're in the end of 2024 and we never got another season. This came out May 4th, 2023.
People don't give a shit about animation anymore, I think.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
The best stuff I've watched this year is animation.
I mean, Spider-Verse got held back too, and that was for a little bit, I think. The second one is supposed to come.
Yeah, that's why nothing good came out this year. We had a writer's strike for like a while. That's right.
Oh, God, yes. I forgot. And the actor's strike. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I forgot about that. And I feel bad that I forgot about that, but I forgot about that.
Probably why I've only been watching anime this year.
I just don't watch things that are current, really. I mean, I'm watching Big Bang Theory for the 4th time, for God's sakes. Like, I got nothing.
I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon and Overlord.
Delicious in Dungeon is really good.
Oh, you're not going to Overlord?
I missed Overlord. I can't believe I missed Overlord until now. It's really good.
Yeah, Overlord's great. If you're a big fan of Overlord, complete tone shift, I recommend Slime Dotakin.
Really?
Yeah.
I've watched it at all.
Same concept, but instead of having the bad guy trying to be the bad guy, it's a bad guy trying to be the best good guy he possibly could. So.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So. All right, we should go to plugs. Jody, do you have anything to plug?
No, I'm still on Twitter, and that's about it. I'm not there much.
Same.
But yeah, I don't really do anything else. But I'm on Bach Wheel on Twitter. If I want to look me up.
And you're also on our Discord, I'm pretty sure.
I am. I gotta watch Discord more.
It takes a while sometimes. I took you a while to adjust to it. Now I'm on there every day talking.
I'm feeling a bit better now, so maybe I'll be back a bit. I was quite depressed for a few months. I didn't do anything, so.
I get it completely. You also live up north, which is better than us down here. So
yeah, I'm still in Canada, so.
Yeah, I thought about it. For some reason, I got the itch to move to Canada recently. For some reason, I have no idea why. But all right,
Ireland will pay you $3,000 to move there.
Man, so Canada, I could keep my job. Ireland, I don't think I could. The time zone wouldn't match, but I could be fine in Canada. So, and my wife works in senior care, so she'd find a job anywhere we go because there's not going to be seniors everywhere you go. But no, I can't leave. I have a child here, so otherwise, I thought about it.
I'm 4.5 hours different time zone than my job, but I've gotten quite used to it.
Yeah, but I think there'd be issues with what I do if I was in the
computer. Yeah, well, I do bookkeeping, so it's most of my work. I don't have to talk to clients. It helps.
Yeah. That's how mine would not be that work. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, over 700 other episodes of this podcast, everything we do is on Podbean. To hear all our Star Wars content, there's over 50 episodes of Star Wars content. I've done a lot. Not recently, but I've done a lot. You will see in the show notes. So definitely go check that out if you want to listen to hear. Just look at our giant Star Wars catalog itself. Can't believe it's over 50 episodes. Definitely go check all that out. If you want to support the show, we do have Patreon. Little Dog vote in our Patreon polls. We have 1 to 2 a month. Just depends on if I'm caught up or not on my promises or not. So definitely go check that out. We do have a Discord. Join our Discord. That's how, if you want to be on the show, that's how you can. I put whenever I have openings, I post it on there. So I'm always having new people join on the show. So if all you need is a microphone, please join us. You can also chat with us. You can suggest things that will someday happen on the show. So definitely go do that. Also, give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Freak. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And also check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. And I think that's... Oh, yeah, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, rate and videos wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.